bless. Got to stay up, man. All right. Can you hear me? I know you can see me. Can you hear me? Yeah, man. All right, loud and clear. All right, cool. Cool. All right, I'll praise it. All right, well, let's go ahead and send the prayers up. I'm gonna grab some water. Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, thank you for another day of grace and another day of mercy, Father. I thank you for another opportunity of repentance, Father. I pray that as we move into a new week, Father, and a new, uh, as we move towards the end of your feast of dedication, Father, we thank you for showing us mercy, Father, and allowing us to, showing us history and the ability to conquer our enemies, Father. We pray that you would bring new destruction upon this earth, Father, in your time, Father, in your will, Father. And then your Son, Jesus Christ. Thank you. We pray. Come on. Let me grab some water real quick. All right. All right. Shalom, family. Most High Christ bless. Also, love you well out of Dallas. It's been a minute since y'all seen me. I've been traveling. I was in Chicago. Well, I was in Warrenville, which is uh, about an hour outside of Chicago. Um, been getting my fall on a little bit, not too much though, not too much. But had to be back. It's been about 2 weeks, so we're really just gonna pick up where we left off in 2 Kings 15. We are moving right into the Assyrian captivity today. Well, at least we're gonna touch part of it. We're gonna touch part of it. So, and then probably next week we'll really get um, really dig right into the Assyrian captivity and get some more details on a couple of the kings that were involved in that today. Tiglath-Pileser the third, probably either next week or the week after that. Shalmaneser the fifth. These are some of the kings that took the northern kingdom into captivity, and I won't say it right now. I'll say it for later. But we left off at, I believe, verse 16 the last time I was on. So we're just gonna pick up right from there. All right, but before I do that, let me pull up a couple of links that we're gonna be using for today. I think let me get them pulled up real quick. I'll have to grab them off my phone here in a minute. Okay. I don't want to hold up class, but I forgot to send these to myself. Give me just a second. So I forgot to send these to myself. So okay, that's cool. I can I can still find it. How was everybody's in the meantime, in between time? How was everybody's feast of dedication been thus far? Feast of dedication. How was everybody's feast of dedication thus far? Here we go. Here's one link. Now I have to grab the other one off my phone. Sure. Hey, Shalom. Most High Christ bless. Sakaya. Your early all praises, man. All praises for brothers and sisters that are up early and able to before work get fed or while you're at work. Um, very joyous, filled with mirth and gladness. All praises, good. My first one. All praises for that. Excuse me. All praises for that. Being the first one. Lord's will, many more to come. Was a little confused about buying. It's an 8 day. It's an 8 day feast. The first day, which was Thursday at sundown, so it's a Sabbath. So there's no buying and selling, but you can cook on that day. It's a Sabbath, so it's no buying and selling. Thursday sundown to Friday sundown is the closing of the feast, and it's the same thing, no buying or selling. The second one, all praises for that. My first also, good, all praises. Great in yours. Yeah, mine was good, man. Mine was good. It was a little chilly. Like I say, I went to the Chicago school. It was 10 degrees out there. I'm not used to that. I'm in Texas, so I wasn't used to the weather. But as for once I got to the school, man, we watched class and laughed it up and had a good time. So mine was great. You have that option. You can give gifts if you choose to. Definitely. All praises. Your first one as well. I think they said Joanna, I believe. Yeah, you can give gifts. All right. I found one of the art I'm looking for. Yeah, definitely. You can go on the website israelunite.org and go to the High Holy Days, and you can read up on the High Holy Days yourself or IUIC. YouTube and just type in IUIC. You can type in IUIC and pretty much put in any subject, and you can find a class or a class on it. So, um, you can get more information and get the history, and we'll actually be going over it, for the end of it, the closing of it. So a lot of first timers, So that's good. All praises for that. So let's dive right back into the history. We're in 2 Kings 15. Quick recap. After Jehu, his four sons, or his line, rose up into power, and they took those are four consistent. Let me grab a book real quick so I can make sure I say it right. After Jehu, it was prophesied that his lineage would sit on the throne for 4 generations, and so they did. And so let me grab it real quick. So after Jehu, you had his four sons, Jehoaz, Jehoash, or you'll also read Joash, same person. Jeroboam the second, and Zechariah. They were all the lineage of Jehu. They sat on the throne, and the book I'm reading out of is the Bible Atlas, Holman Quick Source. Yeah, Quick Source Bible Atlas. A lot of good information. A lot of the information, not a lot, but quite a bit of information on the Assyrian captivity. We'll be reading out of this one. Show y'all. I know y'all have seen this with Deacon Athon. That's because it's a good reference. I mean, you get pretty much everything you need in one place. The history, not the history, but the timelines of the captivities, timelines of the kings of Israel, the prophets, the kings of the different captivities, Syria, Babylon, Persian Medes. So it's a very good reference. So we are going to start at verse 17, 2 Kings 15 and 17. We're going to get into Tiglath-Pileser III. He was commissioned, paid off. We'll read it in a minute. I don't want to give it all away. 2 Kings 15, 17. Let's go ahead and get started. 2 Kings chapter 15, verse 17. In the 9 and 30th year of Azariah, king of Judah, began Menahem over the son of Gadai to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. Verse 18. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, Menahem. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Lot, who made Israel to sin. So for those of y'all that are just tuning in, or this maybe is week, when you read First Kings, that was the first Jeroboam, who was the first king over the northern kingdom, and he split from the kingdom after King Solomon. Jeroboam was king of the northern kingdom. Rehoboam was king of the southern kingdom. He hired the basis of men to be talking about Jeroboam, son of Nebat. Some of the basis of the northern. First he had priests from the Levitical priesthood, and then he kicked them out. They went to the southern kingdom. They joined with Judah and Benjamin, and then he raised up the basis of men of the northern kingdom to be priests. So they went into idolatry, and they were setting up groves, which were just tree stumps. Today they would be churches, and they stayed in idolatry. And so when you go on and you read all the kings of the northern kingdom, there were none righteous. There were none that where it says they followed the ways of the Lord or nothing like that. They were all consecutively evil. Right? They all stayed in idolatry. You had some kings, and we're gonna read about one who was going off into idolatry, but mainly the northern kingdom stayed in idolatry. Verse 19. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land. So when you read and it says Pul is another name for Tiglath-Pileser III. That was an assumed name. That was an assumed name that he went by. So Pul is also Tiglath-Pileser III. So if you're taking notes, make sure you write that. Pul is Tiglath-Pileser III. All right. Let me try to find my. Give me just a second. Let me find my other article. All right. This is an article. It's called ancient.eu / Tiglath-Pileser underscore. I'm sorry, Tiglath underscore Pileser underscore 3. It says Tiglath-Pileser III from 745 to 727 BC was among the most powerful kings of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. According to many scholars, the founder of the empire, as opposed to the claims for Adad-Nirari II or Ashur-Nasirpal II. His birth name was Pulu or Pul, as he is called in the book of books of First Kings and First Chronicles. His assumed name, Tiglath-Pileser III, is the Hebrew version of, the Akkadian Tukulti Apil Assur, and was chosen to link himself directly to great kings of the past, such as Tiglath-Pileser I. All right, so I just want to read that to y'all to show y'all that Tiglath-Pileser or Pul is Tiglath-Pileser III. So I'm gonna give y'all this link so y'all can go back and read that at your leisure. I got another link I'll post here in a second once we get to that point. All right. So verse 19, it says, "And Pul, or Tiglath-Pileser III, the king of Assyria, came against the northern kingdom." The Assyrians today are the Kurds. They are from Kurdistan. When you read Genesis, the 10th chapter, let's go to Genesis 10, just so we can show you who they are in the lineage. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 22. It says the children of Shem. So these are Shemitic. How you have in the world, they say anti-Semites, anti-Semitic. They're talking about the children of Shem. So the Assyrians are Shemitic people. All right. So it says the children of Shem. Elam today are the East Indians. Elam and Ashur are the Assyrians today. And Arphaxad and Lud. Who came out of the lineage of Arphaxad? That's my question to y'all. I'm going to read on, but that's my question for y'all. And Lud and Aram. Aram is the father of the Syrians. Exactly, brother Abidan. Yes, we came out of Arphaxad. All right. You read the lineage in Luke, the 3rd chapter. Arphaxad is mentioned because we came out of the lineage of Arphaxad. All right. Okay, let's go back. So Ashur, Asshur. That's the father of the Assyrians, who are the Kurdistan, or the Kurds today in Kurdistan. Aram, Aram. They are the Syrians today. Same people over there in Syria today. The Syrians. All right. 2 Kings 15 and 19. So write that down in your notes. And Pul, Tiglath-Pileser III, the king of Assyria, came against the land being the northern kingdom. And Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. So Menahem tried to pay Tiglath-Pileser off. He tried to pay him off. All right. Hold on. Verse 20. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel. So he started to tax Israel to get the money. It says, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land. So Menahem paid off Pul to
not come against him. And so Menahem got the money from the rich men of the northern kingdom, all the wealthy of the northern kingdom. And because he did, full turn back. All right. Excuse me, verse 21. It says, and the rest of the acts of Menahem and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah, Remaliah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria. So Pekah had Pekahiah killed. When you read Kings, it's all they all make confederates amongst one against each other. It's all conspiracies, and they all going behind each other's back and murdering each other and killing each other. That's all you read in Kings and all you read in Chronicles, because Chronicles parallels First and Second Chronicles parallels First and Second Kings. There are more details in Second Chronicles, and we'll read some briefly today. But after we finish Kings, we're going to go back over Chronicles. It'll be it's going over the same time periods, but the details are different because there's a different perspective. Kings is the Northern Kingdom perspective of the time period. Chronicles is the Southern Kingdom's perspective on that time period. All right. Verse 25 again. Verse 25 again. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Arieh, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed him and reigned in his home, or reigned in his stead. So Pekah murdered Pekahiah and took the throne. Verse 26, and the rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser III, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel Beth Makkah, and Genoa and Kadesh, and Hazor and Gilead and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. So at this time, Tiglath-Pileser III, he didn't take all the northern kingdom into captivity, but he took Galilee and he took Naphtali into captivity. All right, so Tiglath-Pileser rose up. He conquered these lands, and then he took the people into captivity, which he was famous for, and we'll read on later on. Whenever he would conquer a nation of people, he would take them out of their land, and replace them with other people. So he was famous for deporting people. So like deportation and stuff like that, that's nothing new. Tiglath-Pileser, well, not just Tiglath-Pileser, but the Assyrians, because Shalmaneser did it as well. But he did the whole northern kingdom. We'll read that probably in 1 or 2 weeks. We're used to being scattered and deported into other lands. All right. Verse 30. And Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. In the 2nd year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, began Jotham, the son of Uzziah. When we read Azariah, it's the same person. Azariah is Uzziah, and the same person. King of Judah to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed, and burned incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of the Lord. Remember what I said a little bit ago. Remember what I mentioned a little bit ago. That, the northern kingdom went off into idolatry, but the southern kingdom, they was doing the same thing. They was doing the same thing. But the Most High cast off the northern kingdom. We'll read why. Well, we'll read one of the reasons. Because they was both dealing with idolatry. So, but there's something else on why the Most High cast off the northern kingdom. Of course, it was prophesied. We'll read that. Verse 36. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? In those days, or in the days of Jotham, the king, the Lord began to send against Judah Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah. And Jotham slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. So let me go back to the book we're at so that y'all can see. So that y'all can get the timeline. Here we go. So yeah, look right here on the right. So after Jotham, Ahaz came into power at the same time, or same reign, because Jotham was from 742 to 735 BC. Sorry, I didn't neglect y'all. 742 to 735. Ahaz at the same time. You had here we go. Menahem, and then you had Pekahiah at the same time, as well as Pekah. That was Jotham and Ahaz. They were during the same reign, Jotham and Ahaz. All right. So again, good book for y'all to get so that y'all can keep up with the kings. What is the title of the book? It is Holman's Quick Source Bible Atlas. All kinds of maps and charts and timelines and dates and history, the kings, the prophets, all that good stuff. Yeah, definitely a good resource. Definitely a good resource. All right. Where we at? All right. Let me grab my other link real quick as we move into the next chapter. All right. All right. Okay. Now we are moving into chapter 16 and verse 1. Chapter 16 and verse 1. 2 Kings chapter 16 and verse 1. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. Excuse me. And did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord his God, like David his father. So this was the southern kingdom that was going off, and it says that they did not. A lot of times you'll read that they did right in the sight of the Lord, or they followed after the ways of their fathers. For the southern kingdom, so this is one of the people where it says that he didn't do right in the sight of the Lord, and he didn't follow after his fathers. Verse 2. Verse 3. Verse 3. It says, but he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places and on the hills and under every green tree. Gotta grab my charger here in a minute. Give me just a second. Let me grab. All right. All right. Here we go. All right. Cool. Hopefully, I still got a good view. I can still see. All right. 2 Kings 16. What was that? Verse 5. Verse 5. Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. So now we got quite a bit of reading to do. So let's start at let's deal with the northern kingdom first. So the northern kingdom made a confederacy with Syria to come up against Judah, or the southern kingdom. It says, and they could not prevail. We'll read that. We actually going to read that now. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 1. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 1. So the northern kingdom joined with the Syrians to come up against their brothers, to come up against their family, to come up against their own nation. Some evil stuff, man. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, and it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up towards Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. It was told the house of David of the southern kingdom, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. When it says Ephraim, it's talking about the northern kingdom. Ephraim is the head of the head tribe of the northern kingdom. All right. It says, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. So they started to get fearful. It says, verse 3. Then said the Lord unto Isaiah, go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Shearjashub, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the pool, the highway of the fullest field, and say unto him, Take heed and be quiet. So he said, listen, shut up. Fear not, neither be faint hearted, meaning don't be scared. For the two tails of the smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria and of a son of Remaliah. So he said, don't be scared of the two tails of these smoking firebrands, talking about Syria and Syria in the northern kingdom. It says, and of the, at the end, it says, and of the son of Remaliah, that's Pekah. Verse 5, because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah, so Syria, Ephraim, and Pekah, have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, let us go up against Judah and vex it and destroy it, take it down. And let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. So they tried to come up against the southern kingdom, take down King Ahaz, and set up their own king amongst in the midst of the southern kingdom, Tabiel. It says, verse 7, thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. Hold this. We just read that. 2 Kings 16, verse 5 again. Hold Isaiah. 2 Kings chapter 16, verse 5. Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. Let's go back. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 7. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. It's not going to stand that the northern kingdom is going to prevail against the southern kingdom to conquer. It's not going to come to pass that you're going to set up another king in place of, that you're going to kill King Ahaz and set up another king in the midst of the southern kingdom. That's not going to go down. That's what the Most High said. That's not going to happen. Verse 8, for the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. The Most High was going to cast off the northern kingdom and was going to carry them away into captivity. And when we read on, we're going to, like I say, I think that may be next week that we'll read about that. It says within 65 years. It says within 65 years. So a score is 20 years. One score is 20 years. So it says 3 scores is talking about 65 years. So within 65 years, Ephraim was going to be broken, that it be not a people. All right. Verse, actually, let me jump down. As you read on, it goes into prophecies about Christ, him being called Emmanuel, him being a Savior. Let's jump down to verse 16. 16. Yeah, verse 16. Verse 16. So we read on up to verse 8. Ephraim was going to be broken, that it be not a people, because they tried to come up against the southern kingdom and to prevail against them and set up another king, Tabiel, in place of King Ahaz. The Most High said, nah, I'm not having that. Within 65 years, y'all are going to be broken. Y'all are not going to be a people. Y'all are going to be taken out of y'all's land. Y'all are going to be taken into captivity. Okay. And it happened, of course. Yeah, we'll read it later. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's jump down to verse 16. For behold, the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good. The land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. The land that thou abhorrest, the northern kingdom, shall be forsaken of both her kings. Talking about the king of the northern kingdom and the king of Syria, Rezin, because they were both going to be taken down. by Syria, actually. Verse 17, the Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria was going to come against the northern kingdom and Syria. All right. And as we read on, we'll see who it was. Verse 18, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. Actually, I want to stop at 17. Yeah, but it's going to go into Tiglath-Pileser the third. So let's go back to 2 Kings 15. 2 Kings 15. I mean, 16. I'm sorry. 2 Kings 16. Let's read verse 5 again, and then we'll read on. So what we read in Isaiah 7 was the prophecy that Isaiah, the message that the Lord gave to Isaiah to give to King Ahaz and the southern kingdom, not to be faint-hearted because the northern kingdom and Syria were not going to destroy y'all. They were not going to conquer y'all. All right. 2 Kings 16 and 5. Then Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. Why? Because the Most High said they were not going to prevail. Ephraim, within 65 years, 65 years, Ephraim was going to be broken, that they be not a people. They had went off into idolatry. They split off from the southern kingdom, and then on top of that, y'all made a confederacy with another nation, with Syria, to destroy the southern kingdom. So the Most High said that's not going down. Verse 6. At that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Elath to Syria and drave the Jews from Elath, or took the Jews out of Elath. Hold this. Let's go to, I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. So, chapter 14 in verse, because it says he drove them out of Elath. But when they get into Elath, I want to do a quick recap. 2 Kings 14. 2 Kings 14. Let's start at verse 20. Let's start at verse 21. Verse 21. And all the people, 2 Kings chapter 14, verse 21. We're dealing with right now. And all the people of Judah took Azariah, or Uzziah, same person, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. So Elath was a land that always went back and forth between Syria, and the southern kingdom. After that, the king slept with his fathers. Verse 23. In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Jeroboam II, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and reigned 41 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam the first, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath. Hamath belonged to David, or the southern kingdom, and it was also the chief city of Syria, as well as Damascus. Damascus was the chief city of Syria. All right. So when we go back to 2 Kings 16 and 6, it says, at that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Elath to Syria. Why? Because the southern kingdom took down Syria and took Elath. and they were dwelling in Elath. All right. It says, and drave the Jews from Elath. You can read that in 2 Kings 14, the rest of the history, 2 Kings 14. And the Syrians came to Elath and dwelt there unto this day. Verse 7. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Syria and out of the hand of the king of Israel, which rise up against me. That's going to be important. So just hold that thought. It says, verse 8, and Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house and sent it for a present to the king of Syria. So Israel, we gave gifts. In this instance, we were giving it to other nations. We gave it to Assyria to help us fight against the northern kingdom in Syria to keep them from taking us down like the Lord promised. Remember, the scripture says that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Hold on. Let me not guess. It says Proverbs 21:1. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 1. It says, Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So let's go back. So the king's heart, the heart of the kings of the other nations, the king of Egypt, in this instance, the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser, the Most High used Tiglath-Pileser to come up against the northern kingdom in Syria to keep them from taking down Ahaz and the southern kingdom. All right. But the reason I keep reiterating that is because we're going to go to Chronicles and we're going to read something else that first glance looks like it dicks, but it doesn't. Verse 9, 2 Kings 16:9, 2 Kings 16:9. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him. For the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, which was the chief city of Syria, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. So Tiglath-Pileser listened to King Ahaz. He accepted his gifts, his presents, and he came up and destroyed Damascus in Syria, killed Rezin, who was the king of Syria, and carried them into captivity. All right. Now, the reason why I say that was significant, hold this, go to 2 Chronicles 26. No, not 26. 28. 2 Chronicles 28. I don't want to read the whole thing. We'll go back, and because the way I'm gonna do it is I'm not gonna stack Kings and Chronicles on top of each other because I don't want to cause any confusion in the history. Plus, it'll take too long to try to stack them like that. So we're gonna do all the Kings first, then we'll go back to Chronicles, and then we're gonna go through Chronicles, and then we'll take some parts out of Kings once we go over Chronicles. All right. 2 Chronicles 28. Let's start at verse. Let me just get to the point. 16. Let's just start at 16. I would read back, but it would take too long, and I don't want to keep us for 2 hours. 2 Chronicles 28 and 16. It says, at that time, King Ahaz sent unto the kings of Assyria to help him, or Tiglath-Pileser. For again the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. Now remember what we read in 2 Kings, that Ahaz, he did not follow in the ways of his father, the kings of David the king. I'm sorry, of David the king. he went off into idolatry. It says that going back to 2 Kings 16, that he sacrificed, burnt incense in high places and on the hills and under every green tree. That was King Ahaz. When you read 2 Chronicles 28, it just gives the details on the idolatry that that Ahaz went into. All right. It says 2 Chronicles 28:17. For again, the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives. The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah and had taken Shemesh and Ajalon and Gederoth and Shoko with the villages thereof, and Timnah with the villages thereof, Gimzo also in the villages thereof, and they dwelt there. For the Lord brought Judah low because of Ahaz king of Israel, for he made Judah naked. When it says and he made Judah naked, meaning he caused them to go to commit sin against the Most High. All right. Same thing you read in Exodus 32 and 25. It's the same thing in Genesis when it says it caused them to be naked, caused them to go off into sin, this specifically into idolatry. And verse 19, for the Lord brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against the Lord. Verse 20, and Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came unto him and distressed him, but strengthened him not. When it says he distressed him, but strengthened him not, it means he did not help him against the Philistines and the Edomites that had carried them captives. So the Most High is a man of war. The Most High used the Assyrians to come up against the northern kingdom, come up against Syria, destroy them. But at the same time, he used them to punish the southern kingdom and punish Ahaz because he went off into idolatry and he caused the whole nation to sin. So because of that, Tiglath-Pileser didn't destroy him, but he allowed the Philistines and the Edomites to come up against him. So the southern kingdom they didn't escape their sins. They still got punished for their sins. They still they went into captivity under the Edomites. Some of the country was taken down by the Philistines, which are Africans today. So you just see how the Most High he does his pleasure, and we're not going to escape, especially when we go off into idolatry and willful sin like we did. All right. So the Southern Kingdom didn't just get off scot-free and, Ahaz caused the whole nation to sin. And it was like, oh, okay, whatever, silly mistake. It wasn't that. The Most High still punished Ahaz. All right. Hey, Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. All right. Second King, like I said, I want to read the whole thing, but I don't want to read the whole thing because I don't want to hold us up on it, but we'll come back to it. We'll circle around back to it eventually. Let's go back to 2 Kings 16 and find a good stopping point. 2 Kings 16 in verse 9. Oh, that's what I wanted. Let me the article that I had. All right. This is Bible/history.com/Old Testament /Assyrians. Next week, I'm going to make sure I email myself my links because I had 2 or 3 other links that I wanted to read. I'm only going to read the top part because the bottom part is later on. We probably won't even get to that till like next week or the week after that. I'm gonna just read the top and then I'm gonna stop. This is Bible/history.com/old/testament/the Assyrians. It says Assyria was a kingdom located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers that dominated the ancient world from the 9th century to the 7th century BC. Its capital was Nineveh. In stature, that's the same place that Jonah went to prophesy, which is where the northern kingdom dwelt, Nineveh. In stature, the Assyrians were of average modern European height and were powerfully built. Their complexion was dark, the nose prominent, the hair, eyebrows, and beard thick and bushy. They rarely intermarried with neighboring peoples. So they didn't do a lot of mingling and mixing with other nations like Edom does. They go around and they'll mix with any and everybody. Sick bastards. The early inhabitants of Assyria were ancient tribesmen who probably migrated from Babylonia. They grew powerful enough around 1300 BC to conquer Babylonia because Babylon was one of their major rivals. For the next 700 years, they were the leading power in the ancient world, with their leading rival nation, Babylon, constantly challenging them for this position. So I just wanted to read that so we can get a real brief kind of synopsis on Assyria. Next week, like I say, matter of fact, let me make sure I give y'all this link. Y'all can go ahead and read up on the link on some history on Assyria. If you've followed Deacon Athun's classes, he went into Assyria a couple, I want to say maybe either earlier this year or last year. He went into the history, of the Northern Kingdom, and he used some of this history going into briefly on the Northern Kingdom in captivity under Assyria. All right, so I do want to make sure I give you all that. But again, we'll go into some more history on Assyria and some timelines and stuff next week. Like I said, I don't want to hold us up and be looking for those links because they're on my phone. But my Periscope family up. All right, 2 Kings 16 in verse 10. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Urijah, priest, to the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it according to all the workmanship thereof. I'm trying to see if I want to stop right here because I don't really want to read through it. Yeah, let's stop right here. So we're gonna stop right here. Recap. King Ahaz is in power at this time. He commissioned Tiglath-Pileser, the king of Assyria, to defend him against the northern kingdom in Syria, who the king of Syria at that time was Rezin. Tiglath-Pileser agreed. He went up against Syria, conquered them and destroyed them, sent them into captivity. We're going to read on about the fate of the northern kingdom. When we read on next week, we're going to see about King Ahaz and why the Most High allowed him to be taken down by Edom and the Philistines. There's going to be a specific reason, because remember what we read early on in chapter 16, the first couple of verses, is that he didn't depart from or he did that. He didn't do that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places and on the hills and under every green tree. As we read on, it's gonna make mention and give us more details on the idolatry that Ahaz had the southern kingdom going into. All right, because remember it said that he made Israel naked. All right, the book one more time. I'm gonna show you all Holman Quick Source Bible Atlas. Holman Quick Source Bible Atlas. All right. So we're gonna stop right there. I pray that now that I'm back, I'm kind of getting back in the swing of things. So all praise to the Most High for that. So like I say, I'll have some more links next week that we'll be reading on. If y'all are, confused about anything, like I say, I try to make sure that the names are not as confusing, because whenever you make sure that the timeline is not confusing, that's why I repeat myself a lot. I try to make sure that I repeat myself enough times so that y'all are not confused on, when it says Pekah, when it says Menahem or Pekahiah or Ahaz or Uzziah, to make sure that y'all know who's the king over what. I want to make sure that y'all understand that Pekah is not the king over the southern kingdom. He's the king over the northern kingdom. Yes, all praise to the Most High. This is one of many captivities. When you read, like, a lot of the captivities are similar. They all pretty much parallel each other as far as what happened, what we, why we went into captivity. Some of the atrocities that were done to us in those captivities. They are the same. All the same. Nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. I had a thought and then I forgot it that fast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I repeat myself a lot. So when y'all, as y'all are on and as y'all are following with me, I repeat stuff a lot just because I want to make sure y'all are not lost. All right. Yes, thank you for posting the link, Sister Joy out of the UK. If any questions or anything like that come up along the way, make sure that y'all ask, because it may be something that y'all see that I may not see, or that I may not have seen, that I may have to go back and be like, oh, okay, and then I can find it and bring it out and edify everybody, because I would never take it to think of everything, or I got it all together, I got it all on lock, and nothing like that. All right. So anyway, IsraelUnite.org. You can go on and you can read about all the high holy days. You can see the dates, the calendar for the high holy days. OriginalRoyalty.com. You can go on and get merchandise, which can help the body. Yes, you can buy and sell. So Feast of Dedication is modeled after the Feast of Tabernacles, in that it's an 8-day feast. We just don't, we're not in the wilderness. We're not sleeping outside. But yes, the first and the last days are Sabbath days. The first day and the last day. So Thursday sundown to Friday sundown is a Sabbath, or it was last week, and then this week, Thursday sundown to Friday sundown is a Sabbath. So there's no buying and selling on those days. All right. And then of course that runs right into the weekly Sabbath. as well as the new moon is Friday. So you really got a triple Sabbath. So starting Wednesday sundown. Sorry. Repeat that question because I missed it. I'm sorry. Hey, all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. This is my reasonable service to be able to get up and teach some reasonable service. The Most High said, we'll all give our bodies as a living sacrifice. So I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I'm reading and I'm learning more than every day. So all praise to the Most High. I missed that question on Periscope. So if you want to retype it or resend it, I'll read it and give you the understanding if I got it. If I don't, go as well. I'll get it to you next time. SpeakingRoyalty.com. Torah for the Most High. Yes. Oh, they just put the information up. Torah for the Most High. Go on and get the recordings, get class notes, all that good stuff. All right. You can go on there and get anything and everything you need to further your understanding, especially if you're not able to get on the live classes or if you miss a class during the week. You can go back on. Wednesday sundown is the new moon, which is the 14th, I believe. Yes, new moon. It's a new moon. So that's rare that you have that. 3 holy days back to back to back. So all praise to the Most High for that though. I thought I saw somebody else ask something else, but it's all good. All right. Well, if that's it, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. So y'all can get to y'all's week. Hey, y'all have good days as well. Shoot, I'm gonna get ready for my day and take the little one to daycare. So, y'all have a good day. Y'all have a good week. Happy Feast of Dedication. Happy New Moon. Happy regular Sabbath. All praise to the Most High, Sister Kaya. And Lord's will, we'll pick up next Monday. We're going to go over King Ahaz going into idolatry. And we're also going to pick up with Shalmaneser the Fifth, which is going to be taking the whole Northern Kingdom into captivity. All right. Hate to leave y'all, but I got to leave y'all. Lord's will, we'll see y'all back here next week. Shalom, Most High, Christ bless.